you need coins in FC25, lootbar.gg has you covered. They are the cheapest trading platform on the game, 8 to 10% cheaper than any others, 8% off if you use the code JT11 at the end at checkout, plus you get 5% extra on coins, with the fastest delivery system going, used by many FC25 creators such as Zorky, Manny Plus, and even pro owners. So if you need any coins, head over to lootbar.gg, make sure JT11's in the promo code, and hopefully you enjoy. So we're going to be looking at all of the heroes, just so you know, because somebody was confused before. I have got it pinned. It's a new feature that you can have. So if you don't see all of the heroes here, it's because they're underneath and they will come in more sections. So don't worry about that. But we've got a lot of them. We've had quite a few decent upgrades, and it seems like the heroes are not necessarily taking over the icons, because I do think they are still implementing new icons as well, but it seems to be that the heroes is the next stage. It must be just another way for them to add pretty much anybody that retires now. It's very nice to see with some of them not so much. We definitely see a lot more of the bog standard fodder as we go forward. But we still have a lot of the oldies and goldies in here. We have got the likes of El Waran, Ramirez is obviously here, Jean-Anne Arise, we got Solskjaer, Smolarek, and then some introductions from Z Roberto, Yap Stam, Kanu back again, and even a Tim Howard as a new goalkeeper. So the question is, are they still very, very relevant? And if you do go over to Footbin, I know foot.gg is kind of the one now, but I don't know. I really can't get away from Footbin, even though they're not necessarily the full sponsor. We can have a look at the kind of max price. Hamshik is 600k extinct, which is fair enough. Okay, I was going to say some of the pricing might be a little bit down at the moment just because we've not got the full game as of yet. The most expensive hero we're looking at is obviously Ginola at 3.3, Hazard close with 2 mil, 1.4 for Yaya, 1.4 give or take for Di Natale, and then obviously the likes of Lucio, Yapstam, and also Ramirez. But the question is, are they still as good? That's the big one. You can play with pretty much any hero you can get through drafts as well. If you can't quite afford anybody, then obviously you can try or look with a draft to be able to get them. So going straight into it, I think Ramirez is going to be the easiest S+ I'm going to give here. I think for me, he is one of them ones that will always be at the top of the game, especially at the start of the game. Playstyle plus, just a singular, is a massive factor now beginning the game. We're so used to having quadruple playstyle pluses, 90 plus stats, 5-5 on everything. It's very hard to get used to the kind of the second round now of literally going to the very start again. But there's also some players that just don't hit it like anybody else when it comes to the start. If we're looking at someone like El Jabba, he's a solid striker, but very much couple of days, first release, that is it. Then you've just got players that can just beat him, unfortunately. The only thing that he does have in his favour that I do quite like, why I wouldn't necessarily put him in the absolute bottom, is that finesse shot plus. I think for me, that is most definitely his biggest asset going. We obviously have the likes of Al Waran. He's coming in at a decent price at 700, but he's definit+y lost a little bit of the flair that he's used to. Now, obviously at an 85, I think he's absolutely fantastically statted, but he will still be an S+ to start with. The Rapid Plus has a massive advantage. The pace on him is incredible. He obviously has got a decent amount of shooting for an 85 and some decent dribbling that we can go forward with. Whereas we look at the likes of a Z Roberto, personally, I don't know who it is. Let me know if you do. He's obviously played in the Bundesliga. Never heard of him, to be honest. I might have seen his name on FIFA, but I can't sit here and say, yeah, of course I know who he is. Unfortunately, I don't. So it kind of is what it is. But we've given him a go. Left mid, centre mid, left wing, left back. Got a lot of different variety in positions. I wouldn't necessarily go with a left back. After using him, he was good in the position, like he had the stats that did the business, but I wouldn't say he was absolutely wow factor. I'd happily go in a very nice top S, but I don't know if I'd quite go into that S+ just yet. We obviously will look at some of the others like Dempsey. Again, very similar to El Jabba. Start of the game, probably not awful. He doesn't have the Playstyle Plus, which is going to be a big factor for me to start with, but most definitely he's going to be left behind very, very quickly. Same as Rickon. Unfortunately, he does have the Playstyle Plus, but it still doesn't matter. Rickon is always going to be the absolute bottom, unfortunately. And just looking at some of the kind of lower price, we've got 67k on Rickon, Peter Crouch, Cahill, Dempsey, Carnu, Dudek, Littmanen. They're all at the absolute minimum at the moment. Whether they go down again, I don't know if they're going to actually change the prices, but they are the prices of what icons have. And to be honest, I agree with them. They are very bog standard players. To be honest, Cahill could potentially go one up for the very start, and that would literally be it. Carnu was left in the dust last year. To be honest, I forgot that he was even a card, and he came back out and he still was, unfortunately, just as bad. Campos, unfortunately for him, will go down. Now, Dudek, I always have a different opinion on Dudek. He may be cheap, and I think keepers this year, and even last year as well, are slowly becoming just not marketable in the slightest. You have so many keepers that are of a certain range, that they're decent, they're incredible, the best in the game, but there's so little variety because you only need one. So really, there's not going to be a massive demand, so the prices naturally do come down, unfortunately. So I do think, for me, Dudek's a little bit harshly rated there. I thought he weren't too bad in this game, to be honest. He definitely made some saves. They've obviously got the Playstyle Pluses added as well, so Dudek's got himself the Rush Out Plus. If you use it right, it's not terrible. And I do know, like Ederson with the long ball pass, it's going to be broken. I believe there's already rumours that it is broken, so that was just a natural one that was always going to happen, to be honest. Solskjaer, very much like Cahill, for the first week with that Finesse Shot Plus, you'll love him, and then he'll absolutely go down to the bottom. Now, one that we have been waiting for, who is exciting to use, if you've not used him yet, literally wait and give him a go, because he is just unbelievable. Maicon. He is crazy. Potentially, I need to try out Carfu still yet. I've tried Carlos Alberto, but Maicon and Carlos Alberto as Brazilian right backs are phenomenal. I've played with him in draft. I've played against him in rush. Every single moment that we've used him, he has been exquisite. Such a very, very good card in this game. He is absolutely fast-tracked to number one, and I'm going to be very interested to see where he goes in the future upgrades, because we've got the 90s, well, in fact, they're pre-orders, so at the minute you could have had that pre-order. Unfortunately, I got Carragher. I don't know if anybody else did, but they do go up. So obviously with Maicon, if you manage to get the pre-order Maicon at 86, you will get the 90 upgrade in the future. I think it's a couple of months, I want to say, and you will get the 90 upgraded. So that's going to be incredible. That's not another hero that you can pack. We are waiting then for the next set of heroes after we've got a few months into the game. Obviously, Yaya Toure is going to be up there. Same with Yap Stam, one that I'm absolutely delighted that he was in the game, just even from the release of him, to be honest. 89 rated would be his pre-order. 87 rated is what he's got. Great defending, great physical, beautiful pace for a centre-back. He is definitely up there. He's obviously got himself the Bruiser Plus. Naturally, we'll see that upgrade as we go forward. But a brilliant, brilliant centre-back. If you've ever wanted one, he is absolutely up there. We have obviously got a few of the others. We've obviously got Lundberg. Again, I think for him, he's got himself the Rapid Plus, which I do think will really help him out to start with, because again, he's just not there really. But I don't think his stats would really class it as the absolute top. Capdevia, Bompastor, two phenomenal left backs. I'd happily go S in them. I wouldn't necessarily go too much more, as I do think they will need their Playstyle Plus. They'll need the upgrade, and then they really hit that top level. That's kind of normally where they go. So it will be interesting to see if Capdevia does get a card before... Was it Galazzo that he managed to get it? Or it might have even been Great to the Game, to be honest. He got like a Great to the Game hero, I want to say. He got like a 96 straight upgrade. No in between. Just a crazy upgrade from him. Obviously, we've got the likes of Beasley. Pretty standard. To be honest, I'd go one more than Lundberg, if I'm being honest, for him. Carragher isn't terrible, to be fair to him. I'd possibly go for an A, but I can see him dropping down pretty quickly. I think for me, he's kind of just that holding one where you've got your likes of like a Ledley King, you've got yourself a Carvalho, who are more defensively than paced, and some of them a little bit better paced, like Carvalho. Doesn't look terrible this year. Definitely has got that in him. And I think another one that really kind of comes alive once he manages to get that upgrade and will be very interesting. But the one thing that for me would push him up is he's got that anticipate. That's going to be absolutely massive to start with. It's a very good playstyle plus that we know from last year with a centre back, and it works again just as well. Throw in a few more others. Donovan, I'd say, would be kind of just that slightly bit better version than Dempsey, but not by much. McManaman would be the same, kind of going through what we've seen in past. Smolarek, all of them strikers. To be honest, I do think they are absolutely up there. Him, Govu, Papin, they're all very good icon hero strikers, but they don't quite go with the likes of a Di Natale. They don't beat out a Tevez just yet, and it will be whether they get upgraded straight away or not. Whereas someone like Melito, he's an easy A+, but he's not going any more than that. Forlan would obviously go one more up. Company is as good as ever. You just know he's fantastic. Obviously, Tevez is going to be there. And also Schneider. He had a phenomenal end to last year. And again, he's back with even better stats. Just another absolute world beater in that cam role. I'd say JJ would go one under in my opinion for that. We then obviously have got a lot of the kind of the newer ones coming up soon as well. Gully, I'd go in an A quite comfortably. Govu, he's one that it splits opinions with him. I actually really like him, but he definitely is one of them ones that I could understand some people not getting on with a striker. I just think this year especially, great pace, great shooting. He's obviously 5'8", so I'm finding that the more taller players are doing better this year, but I think again that just comes down to lengthy. Like that is just what lengthy is. You get it at the start of the game, you then lose it in the middle because you've kind of got some better centre backs, you need a little bit more trickiness, and then you get it at the end of the game where everybody is just becoming lengthy again because of the stats. So I think for me, Govu, he's going to come in as an S, but I don't know if I'd quite go any more than that. It would take a nice upgrade for him to get there. Keane obviously up there as well. I would personally go Keane as more of an A+ at a very top level. I don't know if I'd quite go S. I've always had that mixed love with him, that he's decent and most definitely could be argued into that S at the start of the game, but he is one of them ones I think does deserve to come down that little peg. Ledley King, anticipate as well. For me, he's just always under a little bit of Carvalho, and that purely just comes down to the defending side of him. They've both got the anticipate, but I think it would go like Carragher, King, Carvalho. That's just kind of how I always see it. Dirk Kuyt, pretty much at the bottom in my opinion. We've got the Russians back, no thank you. Parji Sung, nice interesting card, most definitely. So weird with all of his positions. Obviously starts off as a left mid and then he does move around. He's got the relentless, which I suppose is a nice one just for the fact that he will just be able to keep going left, right and centre. But he's one of them ones for me that needs the upgrade straight off the bat. Like if he's going to play more of a centre mid role, he needs to get in it straight away with like an 89-90 upgrade with some good stats upgraded. We then have the likes of John Arne Riise. He'd go in a very comfortable A+ for me. Rosicki, incisive pass is decent, but again, he's kind of just a bit bog standard if I'm being brutally honest with him. Rui Costa, very, very similar. I'd probably go here because I know that he does drop down very quickly, but I think without the playstyle plus, he's going to drop down quicker than Rosicki just because that's going to be a big factor for him, but he is very bog standard, let's be real. We got Cordoba. He's obviously coming in with a lovely playstyle plus in aerial plus, which is what I believe he didn't have last year. What did he have last year? No, he did have aerial plus. What did he... Oh, yeah, they got rid of it. I was thinking, there was one point where he didn't have it. It might have been Cannavaro because it's a massive one that he needs. And I do think in terms of a centre-back, he's brilliant at it, but he needs that aerial plus. It's just an absolute must with him. Then, obviously, we got the likes of Berbatov, first touch plus. It's unfortunate for him, but he is very bog standard. Marquisio, on the other hand, I don't know what's happened to him. Like, we had a couple of years of him, and he was just unreal. Now he's kind of like, he's a decent centre mid, but he's not striking that fear anymore. Like, we look at the generations of him. Obviously, last year we started off bog standard. The fantasy came, it wasn't enough. We then got into the greats of the game, and obviously footers, and he did well. But even just like these two cards felt so much better in the game, and I don't know if that's more upgrades around him or not, but he always feels now just slightly a bit off the pace a little bit. Now, it's an interesting one. I still put him in the top because he's naturally good, but he just doesn't have that flair that you kind of saw from him before. Brolin, easy A+. Nakata, very much a kind of like a Rui Costa, very standard, nothing too crazy on him, and that's kind of be about it. Harry Kewell, I always love at the start of the game, especially when you are looking at wingers. He's just brilliant at it. Obviously, he's got the power shot plus, doesn't quite have the rapid, but we can make it work. Litmanen just goes in the bin pretty much instantly. Lizarazu will go next to Bompastor, thinking who it was then. Bompastor and obviously Capdevia. They have just got that left back spot for heroes on absolute lock. Gomez, I'd go for a high A+, just because of the height of him, as well as then the power header plus. Very, very nice indeed. Mascherano would come in there as well. I think you could argue maybe one up, but I do prefer him in that CDM role if I'm being really particular. Future, beautiful. Francescoli, now we didn't get him at the start of the game last year. Big step to shine here, and most definitely there was so many differences with him that some people really loved him, and I think he was like a week out and loads of people just turned on him. I thought he was pretty decent still, and I think this game he's definitely showing signs that he could have that nice upgrade in him. Now having a full calendar year, could he be that next level? It will be an interesting one. Keebler's going to go there. Obviously, Voller goes up to the top. Same as Morientes. He was one that really took the pressure up last year and did very, very well. Abide Pele, I don't think there's any arguments there. He definitely tails off a little bit towards the end, but I do think as a starting cam, he's absolutely up there. Valale, nice upgrade for him as well. Papin, I would go more of an A+. Then we've obviously got Lucio, quite an easy. We have Ginola, and we also have Colère. Now, I think pretty much the rest of them, bar from Marquez, are all new. We've got Cole, Georges, Guti, Howard, Matuidi, Noor, Scott. She would go A+. I'm not a big fan of her this year. She was much better last year, in my opinion. Williams, Hamsik, Hazard, and also... I don't know how you pronounce that. Where's her name? We've got... We can find her. She is... What rating? 89. Oh, Sasic. As I say, it's quite small on the screen. I don't know if it's small for you. I can't read it from there. Sasic with obviously the striker plus. A definite nice introduction to a female striker. I think she could be kind of like the Voller that we've been missing. And hopefully has the striking ability to deal with it. Aerial plus as well. Could come in handy. Hazard will obviously go up here. And we've managed to use him. Even though he's extinct, he is still in draft. Hamsik is unbelievable. I don't know how they've made him so good, but genuinely, if you've used him before, back in the day, he was that cam in the Serie A. And this time round, he's definitely putting up numbers as well. To be honest, same as with Tweedy. Now, I definitely put Matuidi under Yaya Toure, but I do think Matuidi's definitely up there with a very solid CDM that you can get to start with, and he will be very interesting to watch as we go forward. Guti, I think he's okay. I don't know if I'd quite go any more than an A+. I think he's a solid card, but it's going to take an upgrade for me to really get used to him. Cole obviously was last year as well. Of course he was. It's because he's got hair in this photo, I swear. Obviously we've got Tim Howard. He was a standard keeper. To be honest, I'd probably put him on the likes of a kind of like a Dudek level. It will be interesting to see that next level up for him because being, 85 rated, we're kind of just very standard. He is obviously a little bit taller than Dudek at 6'3", I believe. I'm pretty sure Dudek's smaller. Yeah, Dudek's 6'1". So I would be more inclined to go with Howard being that little bit better, but I will go safe with him. I think he's kind of just that bog standard at the moment until we see a nice upgrade for him. Obviously, then we've got the likes of Williams and we've got Noor. Noor's going to be an interesting one because he kind of completes that trio link between Alwaran, El Jabba, and then obviously himself. So he's going to be an interesting one for the links purposes. Obviously, he's got the press proven at the moment. He was decent enough. I wouldn't say he was crazy. I'd kind of at the moment go for a bog standard with El Jabba. There's not necessarily anything crazy like, say, Alwaran that kind of goes in his favour. But then we do have the likes of Georges as well, or yeah, it is Georges, I suppose. 87 rated centre back. Again, another one. Anticipate plus. 5'8". It's going to be an interesting one to see how she goes in the future. She obviously does have the 89 due to come. decent dynamic. I think, again, we are going to be interesting to see how these cards do possess at the end of the game, most definitely. And finally, we've got Williams. Now, she is another pre-order. Not every single hero was a pre-order, I don't believe, but we do have a centre mid with the flare, kind of more towards the cam, more so than anything. I don't know why she's got the DM there, because most definitely, we used her. She was very much more of a cam than a DM, I can tell you that. The defensive ability was decent enough, but not necessarily crazy, and that would put her in the A+ for me. And that is going to be the list for the heroes. Let me know down below if you think anybody should be up or down. We'll make some amendments, and as we go through the heroes, we'll kind of make the list a little bit more kind of friendly and make it as the best heroes you possibly can get. Peace.